Ballers! Ballers. Now this is a different Ballers. This is an HBO television show called Ballers with the one, the only, smell what the Rock's cooking, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. And the guy is gigantic in this series. He's like a monumental statue of a Greek god. You almost just want to touch him because he looked kind of fake. He's so awesome. Buff. HBO, home box office, if you don't know, home box office has been around since the dawn of time. I remember growing up with it. It would be like, it would turn on, and it'd have all that static, that white noise, and the first thing to my head, Poltergeist. I think they're doing that purposely. Just gonna let that go. I think that they're trying to do some poltergeisty stuff and scare us into submission to watch their shows. Nonetheless, HBO comes out with some good shows. They are at the top of the game. I think they're actually, if they're not better than Netflix, they're at, on par with Netflix. Ballers is an original show about Dwayne Johnson, who plays this guy named Spencer Strassmore, Spencer Strassmore, who was an ex-football player turned money master, king master man, who deals with everybody's money. And now he's basically the king of the world. The first season is all about his conceptualization, his build-up into something greater, because he's kind of sucking at his job, at his new job. His old job as a retired football player, he was good at it. But this story delves deeper than just Dwayne The Rock Johnson and his quirky buddy, Rob Corddry, who's that quirky douchebag who just always constantly fucks shit up. But he's still lovable. You gotta have one of those characters in every show or movie or TV or show or every movie or thing. In this series, he has a pretty quirky role that you just want to punch him at least one time. But this story doesn't just focus on them. Sure, they're trying to make a lot of money. Basically, this is Entourage for the pro sports world. So, if you ever watched Entourage, basically this is the story of how hard it is, how difficult it is to be a lonely, multi-millionaire football player in today's modern world. With the grand parties on yachts and the babes coming out of the woodwork, the drugs, the alcohol, the massive, awesome parties at strip joints. Watching this show, I started to really feel bad. My heart was beating for these poor, multi-millionaire football players. Because they were struggling. They were struggling the real struggle. Not the struggle of working 2 jobs as a single mother and trying to make ends meet. Because that would suck as a television show. So we get multi-millionaire football players who need to manage their money better because they're sucking, losing all their money, and then those poor dudes, they can't ride in the newest, hottest fucking Ferrari out there. And that's shitty as a football player. And I'm feeling for those guys. And you know what? They don't deserve that. They are American heroes. They're actually a level above veterans. And so the whole time my heart goes out to these douchebags because they are struggling. And look, I'm not even a big fan of football in general. I think it's a big game of grab ass. It's just kind of weird. Rugby is a much stronger man's sport in my opinion. That's just me. It's brutal to watch. But it is a pretty good show. I was surprised. When I jumped into it, I only jumped into it because of The Rock Johnson. I think he's a pretty good actor. The show overall is interesting. I mean, look, what show isn't interesting when you have drugs, babes, boats, booze? And so it's like all those things put together with the game of football and these poor, defenseless, helpless, multi-millionaire football players who they aren't getting their $42 million for 3 years. That is a travesty! And this is probably actually what really happens, which is even more of a travesty. These poor souls. My goodness, they are struggling out there. We need to all put our money in and help them, just like we would if Kanye West needed help. Bottom line, I give the series a 6 out of 10. I'll tell you why. The first season, that's a little slow to rev up. It's still kind of fun, but it's not grip me by my butt cheeks and lick the inside of them. It's not that. Go check it out. Ballers on HBO. It's freaking creeping me out. Every time I see that logo, I start looking around, TVs start turning on, and I know it's about to happen. So I run in the house, actually come back, light the house on fire, burning. This is like my 6th house. It's horrible. That's why I don't even watch HBO usually. I watch it at other people's house so I can burn their houses down and then get out of there. I don't want that poltergeist coming after me. I've seen that creepy movie. And not the remake, by the way. So just hit the screen as hard as you can until something happens. The screen might break. It's okay, because you probably subscribed. That's way cooler because now you have a broken screen and you subscribe. I mean, you have proven to me that you are truly a beast. An epic beast just like me. Which we all should be, okay?